Aloha, I am Mary from Wisdom AI, teaching the younger generations enough about AI so that they can move forward with wisdom. I'm at the Anchorage airport, in my favorite place, my happy place, the Alaska Air Lounge, and it means that I am leaving this place at 5 degrees. 5 degrees to go to Honolulu, which is why it's my happy place. Usually when I'm sitting here, I'm on my way to Honolulu, which is where I want to be. So what I wanted to speak about, I wanted to teach you a little bit about how AI works. I've been developing AI systems within my job since like 2018, 2019. We had a real problem in the Fish and Wildlife Service where I used to work, where in short, we control rats, which are invasive in Hawaii, to protect the Hawaiian endangered native forest birds. And we caught one of these birds. We killed it in a rat trap, which is like a huge deal. We didn't do it, Fish and Wildlife Service, but our partners did. And so we put in for some money to really research this problem using camera trap data. We wanted to understand the behavior of the animals, the different animals around the traps. So we got funded to do that back in like 2018 or 2019. And my role was, so when we put out camera traps in the forest, we end up with massive amounts of data where we have photos, so many photos. Like, you're setting these camera traps to take a photo every hour so you know that they're still working and you know when they stop working. You're setting them on like a burst, 1 to 3 photos or 5 photos, however many you want to see. Once the thing gets triggered, then it takes a bunch of photos. It gets triggered by motion. They're just like trail cams, right? So my role was to develop a photo recognition system, AI-based photo recognition, to deal with these data. So that involved just like, and this was kind of like the bleeding edge of AI, at the time. It's so crazy how fast it's moved, in the last 5 to 7 years. It's insane, really. So in order to train these models at that time, I needed to develop training sets to tell the computer, like, what we were looking for and what we weren't looking for. Because we would get all these photos where the wind blew and we would grass blowing in the wind, and animals we weren't interested in, people walking by and dropping their backpack. There were so many things that we would have photos of. We wanted to only have to review out of, a million. I can't remember how many photos we had. Millions. We only wanted to look at the ones with certain animals in them. So I was training the AI to recognize rats and recognize birds against like really complicated backgrounds. And this was in the days where, they were starting to have like self-driving cars, but that's because the car environment's like really straightforward. Like, we could pick out stop signs, and we could pick out cars, and we could pick out pedestrians. And what we did at the time was like it's called like a bounding box around it. So it wasn't really tightly like gripping these organisms or whatever we were looking at. And then we were just at the point, the universal-y, of developing segmentation-based algorithms, where we would actually draw a tighter, like, instead of having it be just a rectangular box, we were able to like click, and outline the actual organism, which was a much cleaner training set for the model, because all the model is doing is looking for edges of things and going, okay, this is one object and this is a different object. And so if in the forest data we had so much noise in a bounding box that it just made the model fit like not as good. And so we, in efforts to label the data, that's what it was called, I'm sure it still is, we were taking a bunch of photos, like a subset of our photos that were reasonably good, that either had rats or birds or no rats or birds, and we were going through them and having to like produce this segmentation. And there was a company I got connected with, and they were like amazing. They really had a great software product. It was called Zeno. 2 guys, super smart, super cool, trying to like, they had developed this software where you could really quickly like label the image, and then the model would like update and train itself using AI while you were, so then it would start suggesting objects to you. So it really just like reduced our workload so much. We actually we have a paper coming out on this, hopefully kind of soon. But what I wanted to talk about today is what ultimately happened, because this is to my point about responsibly training AI, is that these guys were trying to monetize their software. They had developed really good software. They're trying to get money for it. Well, they were barking up the wrong tree with us, but they were kind-hearted, so they were, really working with us. And I was really trying to push them through, like, okay, I work for the government, I want us to be able to use this software within the government. That never happened. And it never happened because of something called FedRamp approval. And in order for them to get their new startup through FedRamp approval, which is what is required by the U.S. government if you're going to work on our network systems, it would have cost them like $500,000. So what do? They broke up as a company. They shelved the product, which was like a super great, useful product for what we were doing. I mean, I haven't talked to them for a couple of years, so they might have shifted. And then they get into Gen AI, photo Gen AI. And last time I talked to them, what are they doing? It wasn't they. This is one of the two. He gets into Gen AI. And it was at the point where like people were figuring out that they could use Gen AI, generative photo AI, to like create porn. Hey, take your favorite person's picture and make it into this avatar that you can then do whatever you want with. And this has hit the news now for a couple of years. This is nothing new, but I wanted to just talk about like the economics of the situation they were in. They had a great and useful product, where the end users varied, but like the government would have been a great end user. The internal governance and IT systems within the federal government were so restricted they couldn't get it through. And then what did the economics push them toward doing? Opening a more lax AI model that can be used to generate pictures. But there's economics. They live in San Francisco. Can they afford to live? No. So, like, what's the push for people to be... What's the push for people to be developing AI systems that are slightly less friendly, security-wise? It's financial. I mean, I can't even afford to live on the salary that they would pay an entry-level Silicon Valley engineer here in Alaska, much less Hawaii. I don't know. Just want to talk about that. Thank you for your time.